Already know what it is. Fellagood Podcast. Yes, sir. FGP. Episode 36. They full of dirty tricks. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm in the house. You already know what it is. It's time to drop bombs. Boom. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, you already know. You already know. FGP. Hashtag FGP. Hashtag Koger. Hashtag fuck your merch. Hashtag Goodfellas LLC. Hashtag Goodfellas Gaming. Hashtag the Podcast Clubhouse. Hashtag Koger. Yeah, let's get it. You know. You already know by now. And if you don't know, and now you know, nigga. Yeah. Fellagood Podcast, episode 36. They full of dirty tricks. I gotta remember, I got the mic. I gotta bring it down just a little bit. I ain't gotta be so loud. This episode is brought to you by, of course, Goodfellas LLC, Goodfellas Gaming, the Podcast Clubhouse, and a very special sponsor, Keto Recipes. If you're into keto or was wondering about keto, this might just be for you. Keto Recipes, where you can eat healthy, cook and eat healthy, and still enjoy food. Yeah. Man, where should we start here today? They're full of dirty tricks. Okay? When I say they, we'll get to they, but you know, you get it. They're full of dirty tricks. And when I say that, in essence, I'm speaking about state of Minnesota versus Derek Chauvin. Of course, Minnesota, here in Minnesota, we are on the stage. The whole world's looking at us, as I said in the previous episode. The whole world is watching. And Fellagood Podcast is on the ground with it, in the courtroom with it, trying to be as consistent as possible to provide y'all a little more details if I can, covering, every day of the trial. We covered the first week and the second week. We're in week 2 now. Week 2 is done. Each week has been different things discovered, released, found out about. It's been quite an interesting journey to watch this trial. That hasn't started. Just in essence, you're looking at the pregame, which is jury selection and going through motions that are going to be presented in trial. But what I've witnessed is a lot of dirty tricks being, to the naked eye, people look at news and this, news and fake news and media, they shove it down your throat. So it's so easy to be oblivious or not even catch some of the things that's going on unless you're paying attention. And even sometimes when you're paying attention, you still can't catch it because you're just not looking for it. But it's my job here at Fellagood Podcast. This is what I do from day one, is I get in there. I get in them crevices and I expose the nastiness. I get inside those places and I talk about the shit that don't nobody want to talk about, that feel uncomfortable about talking about. I don't have no ceiling here. Ain't no filter here. Nothing but truth here on Fellagood Podcast. That's all I produce and that's all I promote is the truth. I promote 2 things: the truth and yourself, going within yourself. That's all, that's all I want. That's all I want. That's my whole goal. And so that's what I do. And with that being said, let's go in. So the state versus Chauvin. As I said in previous episodes, I found that quite interesting that we're dealing with a trial where the state is versus this ex-employee, if you will. So in some essence, you would think it's in both parties' interest for this man to be free, to be not guilty. Because if he's guilty, that would have some kind of bad rapport on the state. And of course, himself too. But I want to kind of break down what's been going on with this trial. Like I said, we're in week 2, okay? Okay, week 1. Week 1, we already went over that last episode. So week 2, we continue jury selection. And right away in week 2, you got them. Well, in week 1, we went. We had the news. There would be the 3rd degree murder, manslaughter charges back on the table when it was removed, and now back on the table. So that might have caused a stir, if you will, or a stir. But then in week 2, you have. See, I'm a man of timing. You have to understand timing and wording. Wording and timing is very important in situations, in all things. But again, if you're not paying attention to the wording, if you're not paying attention to what's going on, or you could be looking for something but not know what to look for. So, week 2, of course, a lot of the jurors were struck because of the $27 million settlement. That caused a problem with jury selection because people have heard about the settlement, and everyone gets to, immediately when you hear about the settlement, you throw your own, what you think may have happened or why they did this, but it definitely caused speculation. Not only the nature in the settlement in itself, but the timing of it. Here we are in Minnesota going through one of the, it's historic. Let's just be honest. It's a historic thing what we're going through right now. When he murdered George Floyd, that was historic. This court trial, everything around it is historic. I've never been involved in something like this myself and be this close to it. So the magnitude of the timing of them not only doing the settlement but making it public, you ain't got to be the smartest man in the world, but to know that when they did settle with his family, they didn't have to make it public. They didn't have to make it public. But again, we want to jump back to the title of this episode. They full of dirty tricks. This is just one trick of many. See, with that, again, it causes speculation. It causes on both sides. You got problems. If he's not guilty or if he's guilty, you're going to have problems on both sides. Because there's people that believe he's not guilty and there's people that believe he is guilty. Okay? So that's one trick. The timing of this settlement and the exposure and how the media pumped it up. Fuck you, Joe Budden. But, the timing is impeccable on their end to be doing this. Okay? That's just one. So again, I said, what is the impact of this news? This news impacted the jurors, during jury selection. It impacted them. If you go back, you can go on Jonathan Tony Stark Coger or Fellagood Podcast on YouTube or on Facebook, and you'll see I've been covering, and you'll be able to, I don't know if you've ever sat through a trial, jury selection, but it's quite interesting. They ask the same set of questions, more or less, to every person, and the responses are really interesting. And definitely when the judge asks them, have they heard about the settlement? They want to know, what have you heard about the settlement? And what do you feel about it? Some people kind of just go off, into a tandem when you ask them a question. This is their way of probing. The judge tells you we have to probe to some sort of extent to get to know you, to see who you are, who we got in our courtroom, right? So it definitely had an impact on the jurors. It definitely had an impact on the decision of the defense and the state on whether they would like to have this juror entered into court. Now, mind you, like I said before, this is a big deal. This jury selection is a big deal because you have people who you have in a perfect world, just like voting is supposed to work. But we know our world is far from perfect. So you would know that this jury selection is open for the opportunity to be contaminated or to be infiltrated. All the jurors, out of all the 12 jurors, you might have just one that's an informant for Black Lives Matter, the organization, or the whatever. Or you might have a motherfucker that's from some other country, with some other terrorist group or whatever, or some with Antifa or whatever. Somebody want to slide them in there. These are regular people being called, but you don't know what people are affiliated with and what hidden agendas people have. So it's safe to say that this jury, just like voting, has the opportunity to be tampered with. And so, what does it say about the case? When you hear about the settlement, the 27, you at home, when you heard about the $27 million that the family got and settled for, what were your thoughts on it? How did it make you feel? Did you have an opinion either way? Well, of course, I'll share with you mine. When I heard about the 27 million right away, I said, damn it. Because I always say there's always a bag at play. But not only is there a bag at play, once they settled and took that money, that, in my eyes, okay, whoever on George's side of the family or whatever was pursuing any kind of justice or anything, that was cut short. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when they accept that money, just like Breonna Taylor's mom accepted that money, there's an NDA or non-disclosure that you probably have to sign, I'm sure, and you accept this money, and then there's no more coming back to the justice. If you were seeking justice as the family, once the Floyd family accepted that 27 million, seeking justice stopped right there for them. It's over. And if I'm wrong, let me know, but I believe it's over. So what does that mean for the case? In my eyes, well, it means pretty much the same as when they put third-degree murder back on the table. They're indicators and red flags for me to let me know what I've already thought would come and what's happening is happening. So, they're out of the picture now. So now you only got the state versus Derek, and with third degree back in play. But what are your thoughts at home? What do you think? I love to ask you that, and I'll continue to. What are your thoughts at home? What do you think about everything that's been shown to you and what you've witnessed, whether via FGPTV or any other media outlet source? By the way, FGPTV, hashtag FGPTV. Also, in the second week, I have more. The jury selection race was revealed. Not their identity is secret for now, but the race of the jurors was revealed this last week, the second week of jury selection. And with that, it gave the public the consensus of what kind of jurors made it in so far and which ones were struck. And there were some blacks struck and others, and rightfully so, with the striking of a black juror, for sure that they did, it's caused up a little bit of a stir, I'm sure, outside the doors. There's activists all outside the doors, and they feel some kind of way about that. But I assure you, it was more than just that one black juror that got struck. If you're tuning in to FGP-TV, the first day, I believe, or this day one, they procrastinated and was trying to get third degree back. Day two, before race was let out, if you're listening to these different people come on the stand, you can kind of make out their ethnicity. And I can see the stir, but again, FGP 30 episode 36, they are full of dirty tricks. They did that for a reason. Just like when they let you know about the settlement and blew that up so everybody, even living under a fucking rock, would know. It's the same. It's the same. Why would you release, knowing the pressure, the magnitude, the gravity of the situation at hand, knowing what is all in play here, right? You can't tell me these people ain't playing a game. It's a game. And see what happens along with these dirty tricks that they're playing with you and I and everyone. There are triggers. There's triggers. When I speak of triggers, there are things that can trigger you. When Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd and they pumped that video out to you, you ain't never seen something so much in your life. On all platforms, no matter where you look. And they pump it and they pump it and they pump it in you, they pump it in you, and they pump it in you, and they keep it pumping through your mind, subconscious. These are triggers. That's what it triggered the world, didn't it not? It triggered the whole world. We all witnessed it. George Floyd's murder was the biggest trigger of my history. It triggered a domino effect across the world. Across the world. It's a trigger. So it's a game. These guys play games. These people play games. And they have fun playing them. They're always constantly playing. They're always constantly experimenting. They're always constantly collecting data. They're always constantly collecting data. So we don't even do coincidences here on the Fellagood Podcast. We don't do coincidences. There was no other reason than to provide a trigger to let the public and the world know that these people received a settlement, and it was nothing more than a trigger to release the race of the jurors. Also, here in Minnesota, black man's killer. Black man's white killer set free. Right here. Black man's white killer set free. Again, you have to understand the gravity of the situation here. You have to understand the timing here. You have to understand the wording. Trigger, black man. Trigger, white killer set free. Those are triggers. Those are triggers. These people know what they're doing. Amidst all of this stuff that's going on right here, this is in Minnesota. This white man that was set free. They didn't want to charge him, I guess. And he's set free. During these times right now, though, during the trial, during this moment in Minnesota history is going to be, it's pivotal, because depending on the outcome of this trial, things could go in an uproar again. It's not too far-fetched to think that things could go in an uproar or even worse. So these, again, are all triggers, and you have to pay attention to the wording, the timing of the $27 million settlement, how they blew it up, bringing back third-degree manslaughter and bringing that back to the table, revealing the race of the jurors, and jury selection isn't even over. Black man, white killer gets away, gets set free. And then you got Black Lives Matter, pressure to hand over millions. Why? I'll tell you why. Black Lives Matter is being pressured to hand over millions because this straw company, I'm going to call it a straw company. You know what a straw man is? So we're going to call this a straw company that has usurped a movement and taken all monies, donations, whatever, in any form, in a pandemic, in the middle of a pandemic. All this going on in the middle of a pandemic, they had the nerve to usurp the funds and hijack movements of the real struggle and have not given back to nothing. Have not given back to you, me, or the community, or anything. But again, you have so many different movements incorporated in there. You got Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, right? And then Black Lives Matter organization. Now, I believe it's all funded by George Soros. All of them. And others that aren't, but that type. You got a man, an Israeli or whatever from another country that is supporting a movement here in the U.S., but secretly not supporting it financially, but on the other side of the coin, providing chaos and aggravation to the situation. So that's why they're being pressured, because no monies have ever went back to the community as much as went out. But if you're just hearing this and you're thinking, oh, I'm tripping, I mean, Black Lives Matter has always been a topic of late and as last year, especially after during the George Floyd the killing and the riots and stuff. Black Lives Matter has always been around, and I always said I don't trust none of that shit. I don't trust none of it. And I ain't gonna sit and act like I had to change your heart all of a sudden. I don't fuck with nothing. I don't fuck with Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, none of that shit. Because motherfuckers don't secure the perimeter. So even if something started off pure, they don't let anybody and their mama come in and come through the breach security and come through and bang and claim the same thing. I'm not going. Because at this point, the shit's tampered with, just like the Bible. I ain't going. I ain't going. But this episode is brought to you by episode 36. They full of tricks. Specially brought to you by clickshare.com. You sitting at home on quarantine during COVID-19. You ain't going nowhere. You're on your phone for sure. Clicking, sharing, liking. Why not go to clickshare.com, set you up an account and get paid to do what you do already for free. Clickshare.com. Moving along. This shit crazy, man. Like I said, they full of dirty tricks, man. All that stuff I just talked to you guys about. Out of all of it, it's all legit distractions and tricks and triggers. It's simply just that. But I could totally see how one would see all of those things we just talked about and not see anything wrong with it. I get that too, so I want you to understand. And I always have to emphasize this because, we live in a world, we live in a world where people judge and, I want you to know I'm not here yelling at you or judging you at home for whatever you believe in. When I say things like get rid of the Bible, I know that hurts. But that's just because I don't fuck with it. And if you do fuck with it, don't mean I don't fuck with you. Because at the end of the day, I still want you to be great. I want you to know that I love you, and I want you to know I want nothing but the best for you. No matter what you believe in, but I feel it's my duty to share my beliefs and what I've uncovered and discovered. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about something that I don't know nothing about. I've done that. I've done that for a long time. A good part of my life, I've done that. I'm not doing that. So I'm going to always give it to you raw and uncut. But I want you to understand, I too were there. I too was into church. I too was into that Bible. And I too know the Bible backwards and forwards. And I too could have been a deacon. And I too could have been a pastor. I too used to be so involved in everything that the world presents to us to keep us away from ourselves. I too was there. Because, see, if you understand how things work, let me just, before I go to the next segment or topic, if you're in charge of 10 people, just say you're in charge of 10 people, and you're not a righteous person or you're not an evil person, but you know one thing for sure. In order for these 10 people to stay in line, in order to survive and just to listen and do the right stuff and follow your word, in order to do that, it is in your best interest to keep them people dumbed down. You can't let them know that they are as great or greater than you, because then how could you be their leader? People don't allow that, you got ego. For instance, prime example, young Pharaoh. He's definitely younger than me. I'm 38. I know that nigga ain't older than me. Young Pharaoh, I look up to him, and there's nothing wrong with that because he inspired me, amongst others. Stand Up Detroit, King Seti. I can't believe I don't ever see none of my people talk about him from Detroit, but that nigga is a fucking amazing. And he's amazing, nigga. He's amazing. I feel like between Young Pharaoh and King Seti, I feel like, man, them niggas reincarnated back. They back. You know what I mean? From one of our ancestors or something, man. Them boys going in. But my point is, a lot of niggas can't do that. They let their ego and their pride. Oh, that nigga, how you gonna look up to a motherfucker that's younger than you? You know what I'm saying? Something like that. No, that young nigga inspired me. King Seti inspired me. Gilly the King and Wallow, they inspired me. You know what I'm saying? As far as starting the podcast. And I don't have any shame or anything when I say that, because it's pure. In which it should be. But in most cases, niggas can't let their ego go. So they don't want to give props where they do, and I'm gonna give props where they do, and that's just it. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas inspired me, and that's that. And with that being said, I have, since I started this podcast shit, and let's be clear, we started Goody and Big last year, banging, started the Mike Podcast, banging, that's 2 different podcasts. Then I switched up, now we got the Fellagood Podcast. And Goodfellas Gaming, a gaming channel on top of that. So don't, I ain't playing when I'm saying what I'm saying. A motherfucker been making moves out here. My point is, once I started doing what I'm doing, I notice I've inspired others. Like, it's a fact. I know I've inspired others. And it's a great thing. It's beautiful. But niggas be in their ego, so even hearing me say this right now, looking at you, it right in your eye, you be like, man, nigga, you ain't inspired me to do shit. Man, nigga, I've been doing this, or nigga, whatever. All I want to see is let you niggas know I see you, salute. Salute and keep doing your thing. I seen a post one time. Leonardo DiCaprio was a post or something like, "Ain't nothing wrong with you eating, just not at the table with me." It's all good though. But my point being, I've inspired people. I've been inspired, and that's how it's supposed to go. Another example, the Podcast Clubhouse. It's a place where you can come simply share something there that you like to the world and share your own stuff there. It's so fucking simple. But just like James Wilshire said, I must be fucking stupid to think that would work. I digress. I say what to say what. I love y'all. Do you. I'm going to continue to do me. You have to be able to accept the fact that you can be taught and you can learn. You're supposed to always learn. I say when you stop learning, you die. My brother is older than me by 7 years. And there was a time when I looked up to him. But as I grew older and I evolved, he started looking up to me. I was doing the things that the big brother usually would do. You know, things just like loaning money and having your own, like having your own house, you know, just things like you would think like, damn, he looked up to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. But even in that being said, Red, you watching this right now, you know. But you'll be like, nah, nigga, I ain't never looked up to you, nigga. Who's you supposed to be, nigga? It is what it is. I still love you. My point being, I'm at a point in my life I've went off into a tandem, but it's important. These are those golden moments. At this point right now in my life, I've accepted the fact that this isn't the final step in life. There's more to life than that. But not only that, I've been able to evolve to the point where I've been able to let go of my ego and accept the fact that I don't know everything. But I stay thirsty every day for the knowledge, and I quest for it. And I will quest for a higher understanding. So yeah. Fellagood Podcast, you already know what it is. Hashtag FGP, hashtag fuck your merch, hashtag Goodfellas Gaming, hashtag Goodfellas LLC. Let's go. Moving right along, right? Texas governor. Let me get some work. Abbott. Texas Governor Abbott report COVID outbreak. No usable water at migrant holding facility. Or immigrant holding facility. Now we're going to go in. Mic check. Now we're going to go in, okay? Oh, how this fell on my lap. So if you know, hashtag FGPTV, been streaming the Derek Chauvin since March 8th. Haven't missed a day. Might have missed some jurors, but haven't missed a day. Right? Last week, during I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday last week. Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm streaming. And Big called me. You'll see if you go back on Jonathan Tony Stark Coger on Facebook or on YouTube, Fellagood Podcast, or on Facebook, Fellagood Podcast, you'll see I was streaming and maybe I put at the 17-minute mark, I marked down in the comments of it, I put a timestamp there because Big called me, and you'll see on live, Big called me, you'll even see him, you ain't gonna hear us because it's muted. And he tell me Dun, dun, dun. Breaking news. Hey, there's some shit going on at the border. Check it out. He showed me his TV. You're going to see that as well. Well, I'm streaming the Derek Chauvin, but look what done fell in my lap. Boom, you going to see me switch. Whoop, whoop, switch to the joint. I switch. It's this motherfucker governor and these other governors and shit from the Republican side, I believe. Nonetheless, they're exposing the border. Human trafficking at the border. So I cut right to that. Breaking news. Dun, dun, dun. Human trafficking at the border exposed. At the 17 mark, I put the time stamp on it. Check me out. Here we go. So the governor's talking about how this facility is not up to code. They don't have usable water. They're not doing reasonable tests for COVID. Which this is just the story you got here today, but also what I cover in what I'm telling you now, and within that trial thing, I cut to that joint and they talking about actual people who, the actual situation at hand, and due to Biden's laws and restrictions, loosening of some restrictions that were put in place when Trump was in, that now this situation is out of control. Mind you, this ain't that new. This is only exposed now. This is being exposed now. This has been going on forever. It's been going on forever, right? They say the dude, you can watch it. I put the temps, like I said, it's at the 17-minute mark, something like that. 17 minutes and 23 seconds mark. Don't quote me. He say, well, when are these people getting tested for COVID? He was told they'll be tested for COVID once they're clear to leave the facility. Like, he said, point being, the things that they're saying in this video is the same thing that the Texas governor is confirming now. Right? Shit's fucked up. But my bigger question to you at home is this. My bigger question to you at home is, why now? Why now is my question to you at home. Why now expose the truth of the border and human trafficking? You know what I like to say? Something is afoot. Something's been afoot, but I'm more focused on the timing. I'm more focused on the timing and the why. Why now expose your counterparts? Why now? The Republican Party and the Democrat Party, same house, they fucks with each other. Left, right, same. What now happened there where they're willing to actually show the world and expose this? I'm not going to say nothing else. I'll leave it up to you at home. Chime in. Tap in with your boy, Fellagood, down below. What are your thoughts? Why now? Why now? That's all I want to know. Yeah. So anyway, you go check that out. Like I said, timestamps around 17 minutes, either on Facebook or YouTube, and you'll see where they talk about that. And then after that's over or whatever, then it cuts back to the trial and the jury selection and shit. But why now? Why expose it to the world now? Shit crazy, man. And you can't make this stuff up. I mean, even the stuff, I was talking about, back to the thing I said, the black man's white killer set free. You would think I made that title up. Like, no way would any news organization have a title like that. Yes, they do. Yes, they will. Because they are aware on how to set triggers. You already know, according to my PSR, these triggers that are being placed in are going to set off and convince us into the direction of where my PSR says we're going anyway, which is not in a good place. But we're going to focus on Minnesota a little more. Well, it's already been here. I mean, we already focused on Minnesota. But again, tricks, dirty tricks. The timing of this, I'm going to put this big goofy old, big old Gumby looking ass dude right here up, which is a teacher from Moorhead man arrested for alleged involvement of the U.S. Capitol riots. He's one. He's just, I guess they say, he's ours. He's from Minnesota. He's from Moorhead. But he's supposed to be some basketball teacher or some shit. And he one of the motherfuckers that was in the Capitol fucking off. Okay? So shouts out to you for being a dumbass. Shouts out to you for being a dumbass. I forget his name. Also, here in Minnesota, 13 people charged in $5.4 million healthcare fraud scheme. 13 people right here in Minnesota charged in a $5.4 million healthcare fraud scheme. Anybody know about that? Anybody care about that? That's a lot of money during the pandemic. That's a lot of money. Oh, man. Crazy, crazy, shit crazy. Crazy, crazy, shit crazy, man. You hear people say there's a war going on out there. You hear people, Christians, religious people would say there's a spiritual war going on out there right now. But mostly people say there's a silent war going on out there right now. If you ever see me looking up, you already know I'm looking at Malcolm and I'm looking at Muhammad Ali right now. And there's no silent war going on right now. The proof is in the pudding. I just laid it out for you. These tricks that they're pulling, these triggers that they're putting in place, are just me showing you examples of the war that's going on. It's not silent at all. At least not to me, I can hear it clear. Just like when I seen Judas and the Black Messiah, the timing of that movie last month. The timing and the nature of it. I got the message. Most people didn't even see the message. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Nobody tapped in with me. I don't see nobody really exposing the truth of that. But I see it. I hear the message. I get it. But I ain't going. So, it is what it is. My prediction is, we got week 3 starting Monday. Monday coming up. Week 3 of the trial. Continue on. I think they only need to pick 2 more jurors, and then we got the end of the trial coming up at the end of the month. And we'll see where it goes from there. But my predictions is what it's always been. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to jump ship. I predict that with Third Degree being back in play, that gave me the reason to go with them not charging them with anything at all. The fact of that is, what will be the outcome of that? And that's all I got for you here today. Fellagood Podcast, you already know, brought to you by Goodfellas LLC. Make sure you check out Keto Recipes and clickshare.com. And with that being said, you already know Goodfellas Gaming. Yeah. Hashtag fuck your merch. Hashtag Kurt Koger. Hashtag Goodfellas LLC. Hashtag yeah. You already know what it is, man. And like always, I'm going to leave y'all with a fella fact. They now have a test to see if you have They now have a test to see if you've ever had COVID-19. That's a fact. You can go get a test to see if you've ever had it before. Like, for instance, I had it before, and I could go get a test to see if I was right about what I had. But I won't. Oh, no, I won't. And with that being said, I'm out this bitch. Until next time, episode 36, they are full of dirty tricks, and I've exposed quite a few of them today, and with plenty more to come. As the show moves on, we're going to keep going on. And with that being said, I appreciate y'all. You already know, ain't nothing like your time, the most valuable asset we hold. And I appreciate you taking time out of your day to tap in with your boy. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I want you to know that you're great, you're awesome, and you can do anything you want to do. And I see you out there doing what you want to do. I see some of y'all. I see you. You say, you know what, Fellagood, you're right. You're right, I can do what I want to do. And you're doing it. And I love you for doing it. I love you for taking a chance on you. I love you for taking a chance on you. And with that being said, I'm out this bitch. Until next time,